Have you ever faced a choice that could change your life forever? Quang stands at a crossroads, torn between his demanding job at the construction site and the peaceful life awaiting him on a countryside farm with the woman he loves, Linda. But fate doesn't wait for indecision. One rainy afternoon, everything changes in an instant, throwing their lives into chaos. If you love gripping stories of love, suspense, and courage, hit that subscribe button and join us as we follow Quang's desperate fight to save Linda. Don't miss a single heart-stopping moment. The faint hum of machinery echoed through the vast construction site as Quang wiped the sweat from his brow, his hands calloused and rough from months of hard labor. The scent of cement, metal, and dust clung to his clothes like a silent reminder of the life he had chosen, one built on ambition and survival. Yet lately, every clang of steel against steel seemed to pull him further away from what his heart truly longed for. The quiet rhythm of the countryside, the laughter of Linda echoing through the fields, the scent of freshly cut grass under the setting sun. Every evening after work, Quang would sit alone on a stack of timber, his gaze lost in the fading light beyond the horizon. That direction, he knew, was where the little farm stood, the one he and Linda had built together from nothing but dreams and hard work. He could still remember how her hands, small and gentle, once held his as they planted the very first seeds in the soil. "Someday," she had said, smiling under her straw hat, "this will be our home, our forever." Those words used to give him strength, but now they only brought a dull ache to his chest. The construction project was nearing its most crucial stage. The company had offered him a permanent position, a raise, and even a small bonus if he stayed until completion. For most people, it would have been an easy decision, a clear path towards stability. But for Quang, every nail driven into the beams felt like another distance laid between him and Linda. He knew she tried to sound cheerful on the phone, asking about his day and telling him about the new calves born on the farm. But beneath her soft laughter, he could hear the loneliness she tried to hide. Sometimes he imagined returning to the countryside. He pictured himself walking through the fields with her, hand in hand under the golden sky. He imagined the peace of dawn breaking over the misty hills, the warm aroma of rice porridge, and Linda humming a tune as she watered the garden. But then reality would creep in. The unfinished work, the promises made, and the team depending on him. Could he really abandon them all just to follow his heart? As twilight settled, Quang stared at his phone screen, his thumb hovering over Linda's name. He wanted to tell her everything, that he missed her, that the city's noise was eating him alive, that he longed to go home. But he didn't. He simply locked the screen, leaned back, and gazed at the rising moon above the cranes and scaffolding. Between duty and love, between what he must do and what he yearned for, Quang found himself standing at a fragile crossroad. He didn't know yet that time was running out, that while he hesitated between two worlds, fate was already preparing a storm that would change both of their lives forever. The sky darkened faster than usual that afternoon, clouds folding into each other like bruises spreading across the heavens. Linda hurried down the narrow market street, clutching her basket of vegetables and a small bouquet of white daisies, flowers she meant to place in the living room before Quang's next visit. The rain came suddenly, slicing through the air in heavy, relentless drops. People scattered for cover beneath awnings and bamboo roofs, but Linda kept walking, her sandals slapping against the wet pavement, the fabric of her dress clinging to her legs. She wanted to get home quickly, to the warmth of the little farmhouse that still smelled faintly of him. As she turned into the road that led to the village outskirts, the sound of an engine approached behind her, low, predatory. A black car slowed, its headlights cutting through the rain like sharp blades.
Linda felt a chill crawl up her spine. For a moment, she told herself it was nothing, just someone driving too slowly in bad weather. But then she heard it. A voice. Low, hoarse, unmistakably familiar. Linda. Her breath caught. She froze. The umbrella slipped from her hand and clattered onto the ground. Through the blur of rain, she saw him step out of the car. Her ex-husband. The man she had fought so hard to escape. His face was half hidden beneath the shadow of his coat, but the cruel smirk on his lips hadn't changed. "You thought you could hide forever?" he sneered, taking a step closer. "You belong to me." Linda stumbled backward, her heart pounding violently in her chest. "Stay away from me," she shouted, her voice trembling but fierce. She turned and tried to run, but the rain-slicked road betrayed her. Her feet slipped and she fell, the basket rolling into a puddle. Within seconds, he was beside her, grabbing her wrists with brutal strength. "Let me go!" she cried, struggling against his grip, tears mingling with the rain on her cheeks. But he only tightened his hold. "I gave you everything and you left me for that construction worker? No, Linda, you don't get to walk away from me again." Before she could scream, he dragged her toward the car, ignoring her pleas, ignoring the terror in her eyes. A flash of lightning illuminated the scene. A woman fighting for freedom, a man blinded by his obsession. Then the door slammed, the engine roared, and the black car disappeared into the storm. The rain continued to fall long after they were gone, washing away the footprints, the scattered daisies, and the small traces of her struggle. By the time the villagers passed that road, there was nothing left but her fallen umbrella and a silence that felt heavier than thunder. Back at the construction site, far away, Quang still sat in the dim light of the office, unaware that the woman he loved was being taken from him. He had no idea that while he hesitated between duty and love, fate had already made the choice for him.
Quang's phone rang continuously, the screen flashing Linda's name, but he hesitated to pick it up. When he finally answered, the line was dead silence, then a shaky, hurried whisper of panic. His heart lurched violently. Every instinct screamed that something was wrong, yet he could not imagine what. Minutes later, a neighbor's trembling voice on the other end confirmed his worst fear. Linda had been taken by the man she thought she had escaped, the shadow of her past that she had spent years running from. Without a second thought, Quang grabbed his jacket and ran out into the rain. The construction site behind him blurred in the storm, cranes and scaffolding fading into the gray, indistinct horizon. He barely felt the mud seeping through his boots or the cold slicing into his skin. Every thought, every heartbeat was consumed by a single urgent purpose: bring Linda home. He didn't know where she was, didn't know if she was even alive, but he knew he could not, would not wait for anyone else to act. The village streets were slick with water, reflections of neon signs and scattered lanterns shimmering on the puddles. He stopped only once to ask a passerby about a black car seen speeding through the rain, but the man shook his head helplessly. Quang's hands tightened into fists, knuckles white, as he imagined her face, her wide, frightened eyes, the tremor in her voice as she cried out for help. The thought ignited a ferocity in him he had never known. Every step forward was fueled by anger, love, and sheer desperation. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the landscape for a brief instant. Quang spotted a shadow moving along a distant forested path, an unmistakable black car cutting through the storm. Without hesitation, he sprinted, mud and rain clinging to him, lungs burning, every fiber of his being screaming to reach her. Memories of their laughter in the farmhouse, her hands brushing against his as they worked in the fields, the gentle way she always encouraged him. Every memory flashed through his mind like a lifeline. He would not let it end like this. The car disappeared into the distance, but Quang refused to slow. He followed every track in the mud, every hint of tire mark as if guided by an invisible thread connecting him to her. The storm seemed endless, wind whipping around him, rain stinging his skin, but nothing could stop him. Each step forward was a promise, a vow whispered into the roaring sky. I will not fail you, Linda. I will bring you back. Hours seemed to stretch like days, the world reduced to the pounding of his heart and the roar of the storm. And then, through the darkness, he glimpsed a flicker of light from a distant farmhouse, someone moving inside. His pace quickened, determination lending him strength beyond reason. Quang's mind only knew one truth. Whether by courage, cunning, or sheer will, he would find her. He would rescue Linda from the clutches of her past, even if the storm raged on forever around him. That night, the rain fell relentlessly, but Quang ran on, driven by love, haunted by guilt, and burning with the unshakable certainty that no force, neither rain, darkness, nor men, could keep him from the woman who held his heart. Every step, every desperate breath brought him closer to her, and he knew that the world itself might crumble, but his promise to Linda would remain unbroken.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh mình Tưởng Linda Review. Vậy là khi Quang còn đang phân vân là có tiếp tục làm việc tại công ty xây dựng hay là về nông trại cùng với Linda, thì khi anh chưa đưa ra được quyết định thì Linda đã bị chồng cũ của cô bắt cóc thành công. Liệu rằng Quang có tìm ra được Linda đang bị chồng cũ giấu ở đâu hay không? Tất cả sẽ được hé lộ và tập tiếp theo sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Lý Tưởng Ninja Review. Các bạn hãy bấm vào nút subscribe để đăng ký kênh, sẽ nhận được thông báo mới nhất sẽ được về tập mới nhất sẽ phát sóng trên kênh hàng ngày nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.